Oh. All right. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on. What do we got?
Keep going, though, man. You're doing good. Yes! Dude, you touched the fuck out of that, man.
Holy fucking shit.
So good. Yo, Captain Pearl.
I didn't know what was going on, man.
Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude.
Holy shit. Dude, good game. Fucking good game. Are you ready? I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little bite. Ready? Bitch.
Always still don't get from you.
Always have to stand up, get from you. Always have to stand up, get from you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Always have to steal my kisses
From you. Always have to steal my kisses from you.
I got two things here.
Oh. All right. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on. What do we got?
Keep going, though, man. You're doing good. Yes! Dude, you touched the fuck out of that, man.
Holy fucking shit.
So good. Yo, Captain Pearl.
I didn't know what was going on, man.
Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude.
Holy shit. Dude, good game. Fucking good game. Are you ready? I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little bite. Ready? Bitch.
Always still don't get from you.
Always have to stand up, get from you. Always have to stand up, get from you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Always have to steal my kisses
From you. Always have to steal my kisses from you.
I got two things again.
Oh. All right. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on. What do we got?
Keep going, though, man. You're doing good. Yes! Dude, you touched the fuck out of that, man.
Holy fucking shit.
So good. Yo, Captain Pearl.
I didn't know what was going on, man.
Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude.
Holy shit. Dude, good game. Fucking good game. Are you ready? I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little bite. Ready? Bitch.
No.
No.
Hello?
Hello.
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 G'day.
Caging Runt. Good to see you,
Freaking
pal.
I love how Caging Runt gets here so early every time. It's
So
very
early.
impressive, Caging.
Yeah,
Very
no,
impressive.
we fucking appreciate it, mate. It's good.
Is that what
Seems
you're
like
like at work, Caging? Do you rock up early, mate?
I don't, I forget. Yeah, that's pretty much my fucking entire life. Yeah, nice one. Hey, g'day, Lee.
G'day, Lee. Welcome
I'm one of
back.
those annoying cunts as always. Do you know what, though? I tell you what, I like getting to work like even up to 30 minutes early because I get in, set my fucking desk up, make my coffee, cruise around a bit, ease into the day, and I don't feel like I have to hit the ground running. It's kind of nice.
I'm the opposite, eh?
Yeah,
Cap?
I'm
I can actually
complete
see
opposite.
you being the exact opposite.
I like get up at like the last minute that I have to. I lie in bed and then I like have just a real quick shower and then I do the girl's hair in the morning and then I'm out. It's like super quick.
You do have more responsibility than me, though.
It's true. My jobs in the morning, dude, is do their hair
now.
and put their shoes on and their socks. That's like my jobs in the morning.
Yeah.
Because they can put on the rest of their clothes, which is fine. They just can't do their hair, and sometimes they need to tie the shoelaces, you know. So
How old are they till they can start doing that?
well,
You're
Lily
actually
can.
thinking-
Lily does it.
I'm hoping my kid can do it from fucking 2 months old.
Look, babe, he won't have any hair for a while, so you're okay
Yeah.
for a bit. Plus, I
Okay.
think boys are easy because they just fucking go because it's never unless he gets real long hair. Yeah, but Lily does hers hair and she can put her shoes on, thank God. So hopefully we're gonna have one less soon as Joyce gets old enough to do her hair and whatnot, you know.
Hell yeah. Freaking
Fel-
excellent.
Fellas, I think we should kick
Yeah.
this.
Kick it in the teeth.
Kick it, kick it,
Kick it in the teeth.
Let's do it.
All right. And hitting it. That is
What
Whoa.
the fuck?
that
We
is
can do
the
that.
wrong audio. When did that happen? Oh,
What the hell?
Yeah, hold on. How the fuck do I change this? Oh, there it is. I was gonna say my soundboard looks a little bit different. All right, try it again.
DJ Francesco.
That's also that's my friend's DJ. That's
Yeah,
my friend's
this
DJ
has-
announcement. Oh God,
This has to make
that's quite wrong. Shout out to DJ Francesco. All right. All right. Third time's a charm, right?
G'day and welcome to Oceanic Gaming Radio. Nice to have you here. If you weren't watching live from Twitch TV, you would have missed out on Pav's absolutely incredible intro music fuck up. It's probably the best thing
surely
that's ever
that
happened on the
goes
show.
in. Cap,
No,
surely
not-
that goes into the cut. Come on, that was.
I
Pretty
think we're
good.
gonna have to, dude. Pav, that's just so fucking funny.
All right. I'll throw
I think
it.
we'll insert it. We got to do it. It's just too
What,
good.
what was the DJ voice line? What was the
It's
DJ
just-
voice line?
It's just my friend's DJ name. That was his intro for when I was planning a podcast with him like 2 years ago. I forgot that was still on here.
The most fucking random thing of all
Love
time.
it.
Holy shit. Oh, okay. Anyways, I got to know. I honestly was like crying from laughing. Yeah. Anyways, how you doing? Great to have you here. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching live in Twitch chat, such as Caging Runt and Lead GD, freaking welcome. How you doing? Thanks for being here. And if you're listening to this via your favorite podcasting platform, welcome to you too. I hope you're having a great drive, enjoying mowing the lawn, having a sleep out in the hammock, etc. We bloody appreciate you consuming this content. But yeah, my name's Captain Perth, and alongside me, as always, my wonderful, wonderful friends, Pavlova Face and Grizzly Gaming 86. Fellas, how are we?
G'day, Cap. Good. How are you, Pav?
Doing good, fellas. Doing good.
Pav, anything new?
Probably nothing I want to delve too deep into onto the podcast. I just gave you a bit of news. I burnt my face in the most mundane way possible.
Oh,
last
I
week.
can kind of see it, I think, up on the
Yeah.
forehead.
It's right in the
Were you
forehead.
straightening your hair, Pav, or what? Is
It
that what was
looks like
happening?
a hair straightening burn, but you know what? To save us a few minutes, I'll talk about that in the post. I'll
Okay,
talk about that in the post stream.
in the post.
Post
All right.
episode,
So,
yeah.
guys, if you want to get the hot gossip straight off the press, you need to be here for the Twitch stream, Cap, and be here
Yeah.
for the post.
There's a bit of pre and post bullshit that happens in here. Not an awful lot, but you know, just a little tidbit so you don't lose out on too much by being a podcast listener because we fucking appreciate you as well. But
Very
yeah,
much.
Grizz, you're
Yes.
jet setting tomorrow.
Dude,
You're outta here.
I have to get up at 3 a.m. tomorrow and wake all the kids up to get our 6 a.m. flight to Bali. Pretty dang excited though. It's been a long time coming, Cap, and like I feel like I've had so much to get done before I leave. And this is literally the last commitment that I have before I leave. So once this podcast is out of the way, I can just get the cocktails out, mate, and
yeah.
relax. It's
Mate,
gonna be great.
The best part about Bali is they have like really good happy hour stuff on.
Do they?
A lot of them do 2 or 3 for 1 like
Oof.
cocktail menu shit,
Yeah.
like between X and Y time.
So you just buy
At
3
least
for
that's what I remember.
yourself, Cap, or what?
Oh,
And
dude,
then-
absolutely. You'd have to share them. No way. I didn't. I don't think I did.
Sounds
So I can't
great.
even remember. But yeah, what are you hoping to achieve
Yeah,
over there,
so-
Grizz? What's
so we've
the
got 8
plan?
We got 8 days over there, and we are doing. There's definitely going to be a lot of pool relaxing time, but
Oh yeah,
we've booked to have breakfast with the orangutans in the zoo, which
Yep.
very excited about.
that'll
I've
be
got-
really cool.
Should be great. Yeah, 3 girls are all very excited about that. And then Waterbomb Park is walking distance from the hotel, so it's like a big water theme park, lots of slides and whatnot. So we'll go do a day there for sure.
Dude, I'll tell you one thing: when you go to Waterbomb Park,
Yes.
do not let water go up your nose. I'm telling you this right now.
Is that right?
'Cause I'm telling you, dude, I got the sickest I've ever
Did you
been
get-
after
did you
going
get-
to Waterbomb Park, and I'm pretty
Did
sure
you
it's
get
'cause I got
barley
water up
belly
my
or
nose.
something? Did you? Or did you
Dude,
get
I
the
reckon
old-
it was like borderline fucking encephalitis. It was
Is that
horrible.
right? It's pretty bad.
It was
yeah.
so bad. So like, tell the girls to fucking block their nose and stuff. And
So
Oh,
we've
it's
all
horrid.
been prepping our stomachs,
It-
mate. Loz has got us onto this like stomach regime to strengthen all of our
Yep.
antibodies and stuff before we go. So
Get
should be
the,
pretty prepared. But
triple strength probiotics going.
yeah, all that
So you
action.
shit your tweeds in the middle of Kuta.
People are going to be listening to this that don't know what barley is. They're going to be like, "What the fuck are you guys on about?"
Yeah,
Is this like
barley, yeah. Sorry,
pretty much any Australian
knows.
that goes to Bali gets what's called barley belly, and it's basically just like, yeah, you just shit your pants, don't you, Kat? It's
Yeah.
not a good time.
It's just it's just some bacterial thing. It's like just a gut thing, like a viral thing, I guess. But you can't
There
do
you
much
go.
about it apart from just trying to protect yourself before and after. But do things like a lot of people reckon like don't brush your teeth with
Yeah.
like tap water and shit like that.
Don't
Like,
get
use bottled
ice
water.
in your cocktails and
Yep.
stuff like that. Little cheeky ones. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Interesting,
bottled
mate.
water all the way. So, mate, you're gonna have a ripper. But that also means that we're gonna be grizzless for 1
Yep.
week's worth of podcast.
You've got a special guest, Cap, don't you? You guys have organised a
We
special
do.
guest.
Yes, so we're gonna be revealing more about that this week as a bit of a hype fest. It's gonna be sick. So keep an eye on the Twitter. That's what is it? Twitter.com/OGR show, I believe. But yeah, so keep an eye on that. We'll be
Now-
revealing all soon.
Now, Cap, while we're in the banter section, I want to take this opportunity just to quickly talk about a game that I played on stream on. When was it, dude? No, it wasn't Friday night. It was Wednesday night last week. But it is a game called Lens Island from Flow Studios, which is an Aussie game dev, and it's like a survival. It's like a survival top-down craft, like kind of like wouldn't say Minecraft, but you kind of collect stuff and you build. And I tell you what, man, very polished. It's still in early release, but I really enjoyed it, mate. It was such a nice, delightful game. Very relaxed. Kind of had vibes of Stardew Valley, where you could like plant plants and water them, and you have a day and night cycle and wander around and discover stuff, and it's pretty good. Definitely
Is
worth
there-
checking out.
Bit of combat and stuff involved as well, Grizz?
There's like a dungeon delving thing where you can delve yourself underground, and there's enemies in there, and you can actually upgrade your weapons and bits and pieces through crafting and other things as well. I haven't progressed too far into the dungeon, but I tell you what, mate, pretty spooky. Some pretty big monsters
Really?
down there. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty big monsters.
What's
And it has
the-
this like has this mechanic cap where as you progress, you can use materials to light these beacons. When you light the
Oh.
beacons, they're almost like, I wouldn't say a bonfire, but they provide you with health. And each time that you can go back, you can relight more bonfires, so it's easier to progress through the kind of dungeon. If that makes sense.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was really well thought out. I actually really enjoyed the game, and I did hear, Cap, that it is in alpha and it's still kind of like developing this game, but they've got a big content drop coming in November to add more to
Oh.
this game. So definitely one to keep on the radar for sure.
Okay. Sweet. Okay. And Ozdev.
Aussie Dev, yes, yep,
Mate.
East Coast Aussie Dev. Mm,
Well, you know how I feel about Australian developers, mate. Bloody worth supporting. So
that's it.
that's excellent. Well, on top of that, Grizz, I don't know if you saw, mate, but just kind of pivoting from there, there was a massive leak from Rockstar's end with GTA 6.
I haven't seen this, mate. Talk me
Pretty
through it.
hectic. Well, it's actually like there's a lot of shit floating around online. It seems what happened was a hacker managed to get into Rockstar's Slack server and basically was ripping out a heap of videos and shit that was being shared internally, and it's all like pre-alpha build videos. Obviously, it seems like they're fairly recent, so obviously I know we knew that they were actively working on GTA 6, but this is like, they're actually like putting out all these videos from like alpha dev shit that we shouldn't be seeing. Like you can see like on the character models and stuff, they have like the vector, like the red, blue, and
Why,
green
yeah, right,
for
yeah.
seeing it in like the game engine and stuff, so they can sort of develop it properly. But yeah, it's nuts, dude. The amount of shit that's come out, and Rockstar's been smacking out DCMAs and like, oh man, it's probably like, so Jason Schreier of Kotaku is saying it's probably the biggest leak gaming wise of all time.
What does it look like, Cap? Did this make people excited about it, or does it look?
I think it's a bit too early to tell. I mean, there's definitely been an improvement graphically, but it's a little bit janky, and the AI is not quite there yet, and there's
Work in
definitely a
progress.
lot of
Yeah,
shit to
right.
do by the looks of
Oh.
things. So, but yeah, so. Interesting thing to go and have a bit of a look if you're listening at home and you're like, oh, that sounds quite interesting. But yeah, so that happened, and there was another leak that I can't quite remember now. But anyways, doesn't matter too much.
What about in the home life, Cap? What's been happening, mate? Anything special? We got baby due in what, 2 weeks now?
2 weeks as of today.
Weeks.
2
Could
weeks
be tonight, Cap. Imagine that.
Oh, fuck, I hope not. I've got way too much shit to do between now and then. Yeah, no, not an awful lot, mate. We've just been slowly putting the room together. I've got we've actually got here in Australia, we've got effectively 2 public holidays coming up. So Thursday and Monday. So I took the Friday off for a 5-day weekend. So I'm going to use all that time to try and get as much as I can possibly get done before the inevitable sort of rushing around before the following Monday, not this week, but the following week. So, but yeah, other than that, man, just been fucking busy, getting pumped at work, trying to put a bow on things before I leave for a month. So I got a month's worth of leave, but yeah, there you go. That's me.
That's plenty of time, mate. Plenty of time to be with the fam and doing the thing.
Yeah, and all whilst trying to squeeze in a little bit of gaming here and there. I have been, I've actually been playing Cyberpunk via.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I've been playing it on my work laptop via Steam Remote Play using my Xbox controller.
How's it been working, mate? Is it all right?
Good, actually. Yeah, not bad at all. There's yeah, when it first starts up, it's a little bit choppy, but then however they're streaming it, the audio visual kind of connection seems to stabilize, and then it's honestly, my laptop monitor isn't as good as my personal monitor on my computer, but it's kind of nice to be able to relax in bed and just play it off. And it's literally like the graphics are the same as my U-Boot computer because it's streaming live from my PC.
Yeah.
So it's been really good because I've been wanting, I would love a Steam Deck. But I don't have a cruisy fucking, what is it, 2K or some shit. That
just while we're on Steam Deck, I don't know if this was in the quickfire, but did you see the someone leveled a WoW character from 1 to 60 on the Steam Deck and said it ran mint and was great.
Is that
Good
right?
experience.
Well, I can
Yeah.
imagine WoW would be a fairly easy thing to run these days, I would have
Yeah.
thought. And 1 to 60 is like 1 to max level, so they wouldn't have done end game content, I don't think. So they went through all
No
the sort of-
raids.
yeah.
His kind of comment was, it was great and easy through the story to 60. I wonder what rating will run like. And I hear that there's big performance drops in rating too, you know, when you get a bunch of bloody nerds in there. Pressing
Oh,
buttons
absolutely.
and-
Everyone's got all their spell effects going off, and you've also got all the raid boss stuff going on, which is obviously pinnacle content that has all specky shit flying here, there, and everywhere. But yeah. Anyways, Chris, we probably should jump into it because we've got a fair bit on the run sheet today.
Loads, mate.
But before we jump into everything, just want to say a big old thank you to our wonderful Patreons who continue to freaking support this little podcast of ours every goddamn week. Every freaking week. Now, they include Sukai, Moosey, Caging Runt, Sergeant Paul, and Lee GD. Freaking appreciate you, y'all. Now, we do have an announcement. We actually made Twitch affiliate.
Oh,
so
we're affiliate now. Hey!
Well, we're not affiliated yet. We have the ability to complete the onboarding process.
We haven't filled out the paperwork yet.
Yeah, we got to the paperwork. So we're getting there. We're freaking getting there. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. We should hopefully have, I guess, emotes and shit soon. That'll be on our to-do list. But yeah, just bear with us. We'll get there. Don't worry, we'll get there. But yeah, anyways, what's on the freaking list tonight, Grizz? Well, let me tell you, Grizz, since you asked so politely.
Tell me,
We've
good
got
sir.
two major things. Two major special events had happened over the last week. We had the Nintendo Direct and the PlayStation State of Play. Now, I'm pretty sure, Grizz, when both of these were announced, it was like Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. So as of our last episode, we didn't even know these were happening, basically.
Yeah,
they
what
just
the
kind
hell?
of got dropped.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of all of a sudden happened. So, and there's been a shitload of stuff coming out. So, yeah.
Bangers. Both of them are bangers, Cap. So much news, gaming news we're going to cover today. I'm excited.
Yeah, so good. So we're going to do our best to try and fit in as much as we possibly can within our little hour and a bit, hour 40 that we normally go with. But yeah, we'll be picking out the highlights and giving you a bit of an overview of everything. And yeah, so I can stick around. But anyways, let's fucking start with the main topics. Nintendo Direct for September, Grizz. Huge offering. There was a lot of things announced, but let's start with probably everyone's, well, I wouldn't say everyone's, but definitely the star of the show. And probably a thing, well, it's definitely a thing that we've been waiting for a long time, Grizz. And that is the Breath of the Wild 2 now has a name and a new trailer. Did you want to...
And a release date as well, yes.
And a release date, absolutely.
Ooh la
Now,
la.
what are we calling it?
So
Grizz?
we are looking at here, Cap, is Breath of the Wild. It is The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I just want to quickly say that there was a couple of Reddit posts saying, it's not Tears, it's Tears of the Kingdom. It is The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. But Cap reckons he can put that argument to bed straight away. So I'm looking forward to hearing that, Cap.
Yeah. Well, whilst we're on the topic, let's just
go.
I will put it to sleep. Nintendo have come out and said it is Tears.
Okay, there you go.
Whilst we're here, let me just put a bow on it. So it's definitely Tears of the Kingdom, which I think we'll get more into now. But yeah, I mean, shall we maybe have a bit of a chat about kind of the overall trailer itself, because it kind of opens up with, now Breath of the Wild 1 kind of had this kind of prophecy stone tablet thing going on, showing you 200 years ago or some shit when Link was still around and what had happened. So they're kind of emulating that again, showing some kind of battle that's happened on this stone tablet and this weird kind of cloaked, hooded figure that kind of has bunny rabbit ears that's flying on this thing, surrounded by these they look a little bit like quotation marks. There's 9 of them or 7 of them or something.
Yeah.
And then you see a picture of Zelda or a figure that looks like Zelda floating in the air beside some other figure that you can't quite see. And then you see Link open up this freaking door and he moves out into the sky world. And we obviously already knew that Breath of the Wild 2 would kind of have a above and
Mhm.
below kind of gameplay aspect to it, where you'd be up in the clouds and then you'd be down on the ground in Hyrule.
Yeah.
And you see, I think we got a fair bit of new content. We did see Link on a massive glider, like big old freaking glider.
It's interesting. I thought this was interesting, Cap. We didn't see the parachute come out in any of the footage yet. He seems
No,
to
we
just
didn't.
be free falling through the sky there, which is
Well, it seems
interesting.
like the glider thing is kind of taking over that
Mm.
that new well, that the what do you call it?
Yep.
The freaking sail or whatever it
The
was.
sail, yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways, so I think one thing to say almost certainly is that I guess the tiers seem to. Okay, so this is my take on it, right?
Do
I
your
think
take, Cap, and then I'll add where I can from what I
yeah.
have tried
So
to take as well.
I think the Tears of the Kingdom, you see this hooded figure that seems to be covered in, like, I think the whole aesthetic for this new game is going to be that ancient technology thing that was kind of happening in Breath of the Wild 1. And it looks like that kind of thing's being re-emulated in this. I think what's going to probably happen is those things that are surrounding that cloaked figure are obviously teardrops. I mean, obviously tears. It looks like there's 7 of them. Hopefully, those teardrops will be allocated at the end of themed dungeons that was very much missing from Breath of the Wild 1, if you ask me. So more traditional, like, here's the Shadow Temple, here's the Forest Temple. I hope that's what they do. It's obviously not shown in this, but that's where I hope that goes. Now, I think that hooded cloaked figure probably is just the prophecy of Link, and that's what Link is probably going to be looking like at some point during the game. It's not explicit, but and then obviously, I think probably what's happened is there's been another time skip and Link's been put to sleep again or some shit like that's happened. And I think literally Zelda's like shed those tears over the kingdom, and that's some kind of power distribution thing. And now you've got to go and collect all the tears
and return them. Now, Cap, do you think that we'll be taking to the sky, different areas in the sky, to collect the tears, or do you think we'll be returning them to the sky? I kind of feel like maybe they're scattered across. And will it be? This is another question for you. Do you think it will be set in? Is it Hyrule? It will be set in the same area. Like, will it be similar map to what we saw?
Now,
from
I'm
Breath
pretty
of the
sure they
Wild?
confirmed that it is a recreation of Hyrule again from the first game a while back. So I'm pretty sure
different time series.
Yeah, new, like, kind of yeah, obviously time will have progressed and they'll be able to put a new take on those zones. And I'm sure you'll go, hey, wait a second, that kind of looks like that ranch in the beginning of the game or something.
Very
And
cool.
yeah, you'll see all that
I
kind
like
of stuff.
that.
But you can even see in the trailer like that hooded figures on a glider,
Hmm.
which looks remotely like the glider that you see Link on. So I'm pretty sure that's kind of what's going on. But yeah, so again, going with the whole prophecy thing, and yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to this. Actually, it's interesting, Grizz. The cloaked figure has like bunny ears and kind of looks like another character from A Link Between Worlds, which was the follow-up to A Link to the Past. That was the 3DS game.
Yeah, right.
Kind of looks like a character called Ravio. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of people that are like lore and theory crafting, vague symbology and bits and pieces that they're seeing in these trailers and being, oh, it's the Twilight Princess 2, and it's this, and this is Midna, one of the characters from that game, and oh, it looks like this from another game. But I don't think we're going to know fuck all until we see another trailer.
Yeah, I agree. Now, finish with the lore, Cap. Gameplay wise, was there anything else that you want to touch on lore wise before I move on to talking a bit about the gameplay from what we've seen so far?
No, one thing I will just quickly say as we dive into this, Grizz, is, I mean, you can see in the trailer, like, there's a very, very comprehensively large area that this game is taking place in. The first game didn't run amazingly. It was okay. There were certain spots, but we now have the fucking sky to render as well. Nintendo, how the fuck are you going to play this on the Switch? It will be a engineering marvel if they can actually get this to run at a stable frame rate.
Is it going to be? Will there be a Switch Pro for this release, Cap?
Oh, please give it to me. I'll buy it. If there is one, I'll 100% buy it to play this game. Would you?
Oh, when is it? So, well, we haven't talked about this yet, Cap. The release date. So it's coming out 13th of the 5th, 2023, which is a Sunday. Is that fucking normal to be releasing your games on a Sunday, Cap?
Yeah, that is a bit weird.
Is that a bit strange? I don't know.
I don't know. It is a very random release date, and I did vaguely think this when I saw it come out because it doesn't really seem to be. I mean, what's May? It's school time, isn't it? Isn't school on during that time?
Yeah.
I would have thought they'd
June,
maybe go for like some kind of vacation
July
holiday.
school holidays, I guess, is the closest one to that. I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
I don't
still
know. Normally,
midterm.
marketing is a bit more clear with this kind of shit, but maybe it's just been delayed so many times that this is as
There's
far back as
also,
they could possibly push it.
I mean, from the Nintendo Direct as well. There's also a lot of other stuff getting released early that we'll be touching on.
Yeah,
So maybe they kind of just try to stagger their games. Oh, who knows, mate? I have
yeah.
no idea.
Chris, do you think we'll definitely see it on that date?
I don't know. That's the other thing. Like, is this maybe they've just given us this, but they plan to do another little
Because I mean,
up
there's
until
nothing
the
stopping them
July
being
school
like,
holidays.
guys, please wait a little bit longer. Like
All right.
there's every chance they could possibly do
I
that.
reckon July, Cap. I reckon July.
I actually reckon
just before
July as well. I reckon we won't get it till mid-year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think the date. It almost just felt like we had to do this because people are so fucking pissed off with not having gotten anything for ages.
Yeah.
And saying that, Grizz, I actually expected more from the trailer.
It doesn't show a lot, does it? In fact, that was one thing I wanted to talk about the gameplay wise. To me, it just looks like Breath of the Wild. It looks exactly the same as Breath of the Wild, except you're way more verticality to it. So you're up in the sky and you're floating around. We haven't seen any of the abilities, and I wanted to do a little bit of theory crafting.
You see a little one there where it kind of looks like they've done the time stop thing on from Breath of the Wild 1 and turned a rock into like an elevator into the sky, which is kind of cool.
Is that, do you reckon? I just thought they might have just been moving elevators that you could just jump on. But mate, yeah, you might be right there. Yeah, the old time stop. Well, do you think? Okay, question to you, Cap. So we had last time we had the bombs and we had the time stop thing, and we had what else? A couple of other ability to move stuff, metal objects around, and other bits and pieces.
Freezing was another
Freezing,
one.
yeah. Do you think we will see a whole set of new abilities, or do you think they'll take what we had in Breath of the Wild and just apply them to this?
I reckon they'll probably give us the same ones plus maybe a couple of new ones. And I hope they do that because I think they can still make a really fucking good game out of the old ones with some new ones, but it probably will give them more opportunity to maybe focus more on the puzzles and stuff associated with those. You know what I mean? So, like, I mean, again, it all comes down to how much time you have to develop a game, right? So if you have to develop less, then you can put more time elsewhere. So I don't know. Honestly, Grizz, the biggest thing for me in this game is I just fucking really hope that they address the lack of themed dungeons because for me, Legend of Zelda is going into these dungeons that have a theme every time, whereas Breath of the Wild 1 just didn't really have that. They kind of had vague, like, oh, this is an elephant and you're on an elephant, and this dungeon's a freaking thing underwater or some shit, and you're going underwater. Actually, that was the elephant. Anyways, regardless, in the sky and shit. But yeah, look, they were all kind of the same, like ruins, kind of new technology, like old technology theme. So I hope they address that. That's the one thing I want to see changed.
Well, my notes are reading very similar. I think you might have written my notes and we swapped them over here, Cap, because I'm pretty much writing the same thing as you. But I mean, when you think about, I think Breath of the Wild 1 for me was not very rewarding to explore. Like there was a lot of exploring and a lot of Korok seeds, but really they're just Korok seeds and you can collect 1,000 of those. So it didn't really feel like I was really rewarded for finding every little bit, nook and cranny. Nowhere like what Elden Ring did for an open world game. Harking on about Elden Ring
Actually,
again.
that's a good point. Yeah, very like unique items for rewarding your exploration.
And this is where I was going with this, Cap. Do you think they're going to have breakable weapons? Do you think they're going to kind of overhaul the item system a little bit to make it a little bit more like the old Zelda games? When you find an upgrade, it is a true upgrade for you, where you can find a better sword and you can find better armor and better stuff and bits and pieces.
I hope so, dude. I really hope so. I hope that now that they've developed Breath of the Wild 2, and I mean, clearly this is built on the same engine, and they wouldn't have had to reinvent the wheel, if you know what I mean. So I'm hoping that that's given them enough time to maybe introduce a lot more unique items that they can scatter throughout the world to make, again, like, I hope they address weapon durability, dude, because it was just it was kind of shit. Like you'd find a weapon that you'd liked, and then in 5 hits later, it's like, oh well, now I have to use this fucking wooden stick. Like it just it sucked.
Yeah, you go into a
and-
dungeon and you find a real sick weapon, and then it just like it's gone.
Gone forever.
An hour later, just done.
Yeah. And even
Yeah.
like the Master Sword was kind of weak as piss, really, because you could only use it for like X amount of time, and then you had to let it recharge overnight, kind of thing. Like, plug the fucking USB-C cable into the Master Sword and wait for it to recharge overnight. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think again, dungeons are really important to me, and if they could address that weapon durability, God. And this is the thing, we haven't seen anything of that in this trailer, and I kind of felt like, okay, you're announcing the title. Like I kind of thought, oh shit, this is going to be huge. Like this is going to be a massive trailer, but it wasn't really. It was just kind of like a vague story setup and a little tiny bit more gameplay.
They've left so much to interpretation here, mate, with the glyphs and bits and pieces, and I think they're just trying to build hype and like we are, a bit of theory crafting around the lore and the story and what might happen and bits and pieces. I actually read a pretty interesting one, Cap, that you didn't talk about, but going back to the lore bit, they were talking about the corruption spreading in the last game, how corruption was spreading. Well, this here, you would basically find the tears that would cause it to rain, which now you're seeing as he's dropping through and it's raining. That rain in certain areas of Hyrule would clear the corruption in that area, and it would be a new area when you go there. So a lot of different little theories and bits and pieces.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's pretty.
So
you've
got to collect the tears to get rid of the corruption in those certain areas and that kind of stuff. So
that could be pretty bloody cool. I mean, there's a lot of interesting shit in the trailer. Like even the symbol of the new game is kind of these two dragons eating one another, and one person found hidden in the background of the trailer, there is one of those dragons behind a sky island. So what kind of
really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's like, what kind of, like, is that a friend or is it a foe? Like what's the go with these dragons? And there's a lot of unanswered questions. I think you're right. Ultimately, that's pretty smart to kind of give you this vague trailer to just get people fucking hyped up and make all. Thing is, though, you got to be careful with this shit, Grizz, because people start to fill in the gaps for you. And sometimes you have a cyberpunk problem where people go, this is going to be the greatest game of all time. It's going to do this, 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 and this because I've seen this, this, and this. And, developers haven't necessarily said no. And then the game comes out and you go, oh, fuck, okay, well, this isn't as good as I was hoping. Because I thought that was going to be
theory crafting was better than the actual game.
Well, that's the problem, right? So, now, Grizz, what do you think? Because I know the reason they didn't announce the name of the game for this long, and obviously the idea of the fact that Breath of the Wild was coming has been out for a while now. We've had probably 2 or maybe 3 trailers for Breath of the Wild 2 since we've had this title announcement. Now, the thing was, the reason they didn't want to announce the title back then was because they were worried that the title would give too much away about the story. So,
right. Okay.
I think maybe our theory crafting about, the fact that, I don't think it's super theory crafting, but those items that look like kind of comma quotation marks are probably tears and what kind of, I don't know, effect that has on the storyline. I don't know if it gave that much away. Really?
I don't think so. I don't think the title gave away a whole heap.
Yeah.
Especially when people thought it might have been called the Tears of the Kingdom. So,
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. But look, color me excited. I think it's hard for me to believe that they'll make a shit Zelda game. I've not played a shit Zelda game yet. I've loved every single one, and some people will probably go home and go, "Oh no, but fucking this game was fucking shit. There's nothing like Ocarina of Time." Well, whatever. But still, I think I'm pretty confident Nintendo will produce a fairly reasonable, offering, and it's looking pretty good. So I think the fact that they've had Breath of the Wild 1 to build on, both technically in terms of the engine, etc., and storyline wise, it's going to give them a lot of chance to make something pretty special, I think.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Cap. I think the physics engine that sits behind it is amazing. Don't want to harp on it too much. The only real worry I have is one thing you raised, which is the limitations of the Switch. So
it kind of saddens me, dude, because I feel like there's probably development decisions that are being made that actively are like, well, the Switch can't handle that, so we can't do it.
Yeah.
Which
Hindering the
sucks.
quality of the game because of
Yeah.
the platform it's on. Yeah.
Yeah, I really
Mm.
hope that the Nintendo Switch gets addressed with either a new iteration or an improved version, because I understand why Nintendo's dragging its feet so much on this, because it's like arguably probably the most popular console of all time, or one of, and like there's just so many of them in so many houses, and then to all of a sudden turn around and be like, hey, we're not supporting this anymore, fucking see you later. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm hoping that it's a cross release with a Switch Pro, but we'll see what happens, Chris.
I hope so too, mate. You can only hope.
Yeah. Now, one final thing before we move on from this, Grizz. I don't know if you knew about this, but basically this was streamed in most countries except for the UK.
What?
Yeah.
Why? Why is that?
They haven't explicitly said, but it probably is because of the Queen's recent death, and they didn't want any allusions to monarchies and kingdoms, etc. So,
wow. Right.
It wasn't streamed via the UK direct page. So
very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
There you fucking go. All right. Anyways, so that's well, I was going to say Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, but that's not what it's called. It's called Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Or is it Tears of the Kingdom? Who fucking knows? We definitely know it's Tears, by the way. All right.
Yeah.
Now, Grizz, Nintendo also announced another Fire Emblem game, Fire Emblem Engage. Now, to me, Grizz, I'm a bit of a Fire Emblem layman. I've played a few titles on the GBA, and I stopped basically from there onwards. No real reason, I think. I think there was one on GameCube, and then they came to Wii, etc. I had a real love for the Game Boy Advance titles, but I think as they started to introduce like the dating sim stuff, and I just got lost major interest in it, because I felt like more time went into that than the combat.
At the heart of the game, Cap, it's kind of like a strategic place your units, have abilities, punch the enemy kind of turn-based combat game, isn't it?
Basically Final Fantasy Tactics. I like to call this a paper scissors rock game, because a lot of the units have like, one will be sword, one will be lance, and one will be axe, and then like axe defeats sword, and sword defeats lance, and then lance defeats axe, kind of thing. Now I'm sure there's way more depth to it these days, but that was effectively how the GBA games work. But that's kind of the way I look at this game, because generally overall weapon types or archetypes of warriors would have certain strengths over other archetypes and vice versa. So but look, I'll tell you what, Grizz, this new trailer, I mean, it just looks like more of Fire Emblem, basically, for me. And I just think like the fucking character design is wild, dude. The main protagonist is just like this person with red and blue hair split down the middle, and then a red and a blue eye. So I'm sure there's some kind of lore fucking story meaning behind it. But God, it seems like they're scraping the barrel for character design.
Now, if you haven't played this game, Cap, I'm pretty sure nearly everybody would have engaged with some of the characters from this game, probably through Smash Brothers.
Yep.
Yeah, so we see, and I believe that some of those characters are also appearing in this game, Cap. They have done a bit of a crossover. So I think we've seen the return of some of those. But I have never played a Fire Emblem game, Cap, but I used to play Marth quite a lot in Smash Bros. As like a swordy, smashy hero. Good fun. So,
some of the newer heroes in Smash Bros. Ultimate, I think, is what the latest one is. They are just like out of control good. Basically, sword characters just seem to be like just really good, especially for casual audiences. I'm sure like in the pro scene they're not as great, but yeah, it really, really good. But I don't know, Grizz, it looks fine. It definitely looks like kind of, it's still got that kind of anime approach to the visuals, and I'm sure some people are fucking stoked. But yeah.
So this is another game, Cap's coming out January, so early next year, 2023. So few games piling up at the start of next year.
Well, actually, that might be a good reason as to why they delayed Tears of the Kingdom, maybe. Well, not delayed. I mean, pushed it into May rather than earlier in the year, when presumably school holidays were. Maybe they just went, oh, well, people are just going to buy Legend of Zelda anyway, regardless of whether it's school holidays or not.
Yeah.
So fuck it, let's
It might
just put it here.
it might prevent people playing this game if they release Breath of the Wild, fucking Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom so close to releasing other Nintendo IPs. I'm sure they've got a big timeline where they kind of like try to stagger stuff out best possible way. But
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Overall, I'm not too fussed about this. Again, not a huge Fire Emblem guy, but what? Grizz, could you see yourself getting into the franchise from here?
nah, not really, mate. I think I'm too far gone. I think as close as I'll come to the franchise is when I pick up Smash and play some of the characters in there. But yeah, I think there's obviously a fan base that love these games and enjoy playing them.
And I think
when they come out, so.
I tell you what though, I think they do a good job of fan service in this game because, like, even in this new game, they literally have a mechanic where your main character wears rings and summons, like, heroes of the past to aid them in battle, and they literally have Marth running. And so I don't know. I think they do like it reminds me so much of just like regular anime because a lot of animes just do hella fan servicey shit. And so it's just like, you guys are, just really leaning into it, aren't you? But yeah.
Cap, I just want to quickly say something to Honey in the chat. She says, I feel very passionately that if BOTW gets delayed again, I'll cry for 7 years. Well, both Cap and I think it's going to be delayed, Honey.
Yeah, I reckon. I reckon mid-year next year is when we'll actually get it. I reckon they just gave us a bait. But I hope to be proven wrong because I would like to be playing it earlier than later. But also, if they need more time to make a fucking amazing game and have it not run like shit on the Nintendo Switch, take your time, Nintendo. All right, now Grizz, Nintendo Switch Online. You got that? You got that service?
No, I don't. I used to have it when I played a lot of Mario Maker, and I did use some of the bits and pieces that came with that. But talk me through it, Cap. We're getting a bunch of Nintendo 64 games.
We're getting a shitload. So a lot of Nintendo 64 games are being added to the Nintendo Switch Online service, which I think is actually astronomically cheap for what it is, Grizz. I'm pretty sure it's like $40 for a year or something. Yeah. Which is ridiculous. Anyway, so you can download what is effectively an emulator that'll play these games for you on your Nintendo Switch. Now they're adding the following the Nintendo 64 games to the Nintendo Switch Online: Pilot Wings, Mario Parties 1, 2, and 3, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, 1080 Snowboarding, Excite Bike 64, and at the very end of the trailer, they were like, "Wait, we've got one more thing to tell you." And then it kind of just cut out. And then it was like, and then James Bond comes in, GoldenEye, baby. We're coming back in. And online multiplayer, Grizz.
That's the biggest draw card for me, dude. All right. So Nintendo 64 for me, Cap, is the most probably nostalgic console of my generation. Probably yours as well. I can't speak for you. But think of Mountain Dew, Pepsi, Doritos, a night with your high school mates, and Nintendo 64 4 controllers split screen. That was literally our weekend and parties, a bit of Mario Party, some Mario Kart, a bit of 007 Deathmatch, no Odd Job, because Odd Job was cheating. He was, if you don't know, he was like half the height of all the regular characters. So it was like impossible to shoot. He's just like dodge around and you couldn't shoot him. Yeah. So just like this, just peak gaming. The fact that you can now have two people that might be on the opposite sides of Australia and play these split screen games over multiplayer online is pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, in a way that's legal. Cool. I'm pretty sure you could do it through some sneaky, cheeky ways. With some funky. I can't remember the program people use, but it's actually quite interesting, Grizz. Now, this announcement, obviously, online multiplayer, classic GoldenEye coming to the Switch. A lot of people are frothing about this because it's been long rumored that there's been a remake or something coming from GoldenEye, but there's been weird and wonderful IP issues because, well, just to sort of say in general, roughly the same time that this was announced, Xbox also announced that there was a 4K version coming to Xbox, I guess just in general, and probably coming to Game Pass, I would think. Now, the interesting thing,
for Xbox,
it's weird because Xbox owns Rare, and Rare were the original developers of GoldenEye.
Dude, didn't Rare make Donkey Kong?
Banjo-Kazooie as well, and Donkey Kong 64, I think.
Oh my god, man!
Yeah. So this is the interesting thing. And so, look, what I find so interesting about this is because the IP just seems in this weird limbo where no one kind of wants to step on anyone's toes, but Nintendo seem to kind of be able to do whatever the fuck they want. Now,
Have we had any other Bond games? Any other?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like they had Tomorrow Never Dies, I'm pretty sure, on 64, and then they had one or two on GameCube.
But GoldenEye was the most successful, was it? Like it was really
By far. I mean,
yeah,
dude,
okay.
it pretty much redefined the shooter.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like, you know, you think about the approach to stealth and this whole idea of well, even the like assisted aim, I'm pretty sure was like explored in GoldenEye, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
shit like that. Like, and even
Mhm.
the interesting thing is, I'm pretty sure in GoldenEye, the multiplayer aspect of GoldenEye, and I think we spoke about this on the podcast a while back. The whole multiplayer mode was just something they threw in the last minute because I thought, oh, people might like to do this.
How amazing was it, mate? I remember
Oh, and
doing cool
crazy.
things like would have one person that would set up a map of proximity mines and have the other three guys hidden in a room, and it would see you could get from point A to point B without dying from the proximity mines. There's just so many ways to play that game. That was great fun. They
Yeah,
nailed
I
it.
mean, and you totally make your own fun. But so the interesting thing about the Xbox version, Grizz, again,
Mm.
4K, it has achievements, all this extra shit,
Wow.
but
Wow,
no
wow.
multiplayer,
No multiplayer.
not
Okay.
online, only split screen.
Okay.
Now, how often
okay,
do you have your
interesting.
mates around to play video games?
On a very rarely these days. I mean, sometimes I'd say like 2 or 3 times a year. It's just hard to get
Yeah.
everyone together now. Yeah,
Yeah. But
100%.
the thing I was thinking about this is I think a lot of people just went, oh, well, it's useless then. Like, who's going to play this?
Mm.
I actually think some people will probably, you know, just invite mates over for a bit of a GoldenEye night and just get on the beers and,
Yeah,
you know,
that'd be
just
pretty cool.
enjoy.
You may as well
yeah,
play this plethora of Nintendo 64 games they've got. Hey, Cap, I thought it was worthwhile saying, mate, that these games are joining an already StarCast number of 64 games that are already on this service. So there's Mario 64, there's Star Fox, Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, Mario Kart 64, the 2 Legend of Zeldas, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, and Wave Race are already on there. How good is that? This cast of 64 games that are on
yeah,
Switch now.
dude, honestly, pretty fucking rad. The only thing
Yeah.
I'll say is like, I have no intention to go back and play these at all.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of issues here, Cap. There's that, but there's also this quality thing, right? So you're still emulating the game. And if you are someone who played the game back in the day and you're going to go, apparently this is interesting. I read a Reddit post about this, Cap, but people having issues with the Majora's Mask bow, getting the enough bow things to get the heart from that quest. And they were like,
Oh, that's interesting.
I swear I wasn't this bad when I was a kid. And it's not about that. It's because there is input delay because you're emulating the game. It's not optimized well enough for it to play like the originals. So,
Grizz, I vaguely remember seeing a comparison video between Ocarina of Time being emulated on Switch and on a PC.
yeah.
And the textures were like not loading in properly. And you know, in the water temple when you're fighting Shadow Link in that kind of like misty kind of mirror zone, like it
Yep.
looked like utter garbage in there. And
Yeah, right.
so, I mean, they're obviously not doing a very good job of QA/QC on these titles. So, I don't know. Like, hopefully the newer ones will be a bit better. But yeah, I mean, just in general, Grizz, like I love nostalgia, but I generally don't have too much draw to go back and play older games like this. I think if I was a kid and I had never touched any of these, I would be fucking frothing because these games still hold up, maybe not visually, but I mean, some of them are. I mean, think about Ocarina of Time, dude. That's like a fucking Lord of the Rings fucking esque tier of like goodness.
It's a long game too. I think the only reason I would use it would be to play the multiplayer stuff with mates that we used to play back in the day, like the Mario parties and bits and pieces. Which you can, I don't know, maybe you could look at that. But I just thought it'd be worth judging this with you, Cap. They have also have the ability for save states on these games as well.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I do like that.
I think it's cool. Well, there's 2 ways to look at this. A lot of people look at that and go, oh, but it's cheating. Like, why don't you just play the game the way it's intended to play? And bits and pieces. I'm kind of like you. I think if you're enjoying it, then use your save states. But yeah, quality of life things. I think interesting.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone has hours and hours and hours to pump into a game that came out from the 90s. So, being able to save state things and maybe cheese some bits and pieces just to get through shit is, I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, those at home who don't really know what we're talking about, save states literally create like a state of the game that you can go back to. It's not like your traditional saving the game inside the game. It's like, take me back to this exact moment again, basically. So you can kind of cheese things.
You could get to like a phase 2 of a boss and go, oh, I'm just going to quickly save it here, and then if you die, you can go reload it to that phase 2 of the boss again and do that. Yeah.
So
overall,
pretty good.
Overall takeaways on this this announcement of these rolling out 64 games on the Switch.
Yeah, cool. I mean, again, I'm not interested ultimately. It's not for me, but I think for retro gamers and people who just want to go back and experience some nostalgia, or even people like, who haven't experienced these games before from the next generation of gamers, like, dude, I'm frothing to chuck a like Nintendo 64 controller in my son's hand one day and be like, play Ocarina of Time. Like, that's fucking cool, man.
Take him to a cabin in the woods, take his iPad off him and everything else. And Nintendo 64, this is it. This is what we're playing.
Back in my day, I sat this fucking close to the TV because my TV was this fucking big, So, look at your fucking 60-incher, mate. Chill out, will you? Stop complaining. But yeah, anyways, I think, looks cool. What about you, Chris? Can you see yourself going back?
Oh, I think it's great. When you've got a console that plays Super Nintendo games, 64 games, and just gives you the option to play them and play a lot of those old split screen games online. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think a lot of people will be interested in it. I just worry about, like I said before, the quality, input lag, and when you're adding that over online multiplayer with your mates, is a bit of a recipe for disaster. But overall, it's affordable, and you're getting these great games to potentially pull out on your Switch. Yeah, all good things, I think.
Absolutely. But yeah, looks good. Now, Grizz, long speculated. No 100%ers on this one, but we actually got confirmation that Pikmin 4 is coming. Now,
Pikmin 4.
Have you played any of these, Chris?
I had to fucking look this up, mate. So, Pikmin 4 is like, okay, what the hell is Pikmin? Apparently, I've never seen this game ever. Pikmin is a real-time strategy puzzle video game, Cap, published by Nintendo. The game focuses on directing a horde of plant-like creatures called Pikmin in order to collect items by destroying obstacles, avoiding hazards, and fighting fauna. Did you ever play this game, Cap?
Look, no, I didn't. I was aware of its existence, but I just never really thought it was for me. So you're basically like this little like tiny astronaut man crash lands on a planet, and you've got to use these Pikmin to find parts of your spaceship generally. And I think vaguely like the biomes are like on Earth, but it tends to be everything like your characters are all shrunken down into like
tiny,
tiny, like, so everything looks massive. But yeah, look, we don't get an awful lot from the trailer. It's kind of just like a reveal trailer.
Tiny, isn't it?
You kind of see some like this park area that your kind of characters would be moving around in, and everything looks massive because obviously your characters are small, and you see some of the classic Pikmin enemies in there, like this big, like, it kind of looks like a peach, but it's got teeth, and it's that's one of the enemies. But yeah, I mean, in all honesty, Grizz, I don't really have an awful lot to say about this because I've never fucking played one, and I don't intend to play one either.
Now, Cap, the article that you linked for this, did you read the very bottom? That there's a couple of paragraphs at the very bottom. Apparently, people think that this game looks way too good so far for the Nintendo Switch, and this is either on a Switch Pro or this is like a pre-rendered clip.
We have had people saying this about Nintendo trailers for fucking like 2 years.
Look at this though. That looks way better than a Switch does. Sure, that looks way better than a Switch does.
It does. I mean, it's almost certainly not running on a Switch. This would be running off a PC that's kind of like, whatever. But I mean, I even vaguely remember people saying that the latest Metroid game couldn't have ran on the Switch.
That's right.
And it does. Yeah. I don't think there's any major slowdowns from when I played, but yeah, again, dude, Fucking Switch is getting long in the tooth, baby.
Mhm.
But yeah, there you go.
2023. There you go. 2023 cap is all we know. We don't know a particular date on that one yet.
Do you think it'll be before or after Breath of the Wild? Oh, it'd have to be
Uh,
after. This doesn't
I
look
reckon.
ready.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I think you're right. All right, now Kirby's getting another fucking game, Grizz. Return to Dreamland. I mean, fuck, how many Kirby games do we fucking need, dude? I haven't even played one and I couldn't give less of a shit.
Well, apparently the last Kirby game was really freaking good, Cap. It just came out the same time as Elden Ring, so everyone was playing that.
yeah.
But
Well, that would make
apparently it
sense,
was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
Cap, this is
I'm sure they're fine.
4-player same screen co-op, mate. So maybe me, you, Pav,
Yeah.
and if we had a couple other friends, we could play a bit of Kirby on the same screen. Could be good fun.
True. Well, this one's a side scroller, so I think the last Kirby game was 3D Kirby, and yeah, I mean, like you said, it got pretty good reviews and stuff.
Mm.
I just feel like these games are. I'm going to sound like such a fucking idiot. They're just too
Look
easy.
at that. Looks sick. Look at him. Look at him. It looks great. If you don't know that, guys, I'm sure you all do, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The concept of Kirby is you're this little pink ball and you suck things into your mouth and you basically take the form and abilities of whatever you've sucked in. So,
yeah. Could
you imagine 4 Kirbys running around just like sucking things off and using their abilities to hit people? I think it'd be good fun.
Yeah. I don't know. If I'm going to play this, I'd rather play Mario. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know there's different differences between the two IPs, but I don't know. But it does seem like they're kind of like shoehorning in like some Mario Party-esque stuff in there, Grizz. They've got like mini games you can play with your mates and stuff like Kirby Samurai or some shit. But
yeah,
I don't know. Again, with at risk of sounding like a complete wanker, like it just I feel like these games are too easy to the point where they just look boring.
Too much of a gamer. Yeah.
I don't know.
Cap, this is a February 23 release, mate. So another one early in the year next year.
Just before Breath of the Wild. Quick, get them all out! Quick!
Yeah, get them all out. They got so much going on.
Oh
There's so much going on. It's nuts.
It's nuts. Yep, absolutely fucking nuts. Now, Grizz.
Yes, sir.
Enough about Kirby. Let's move on. It Takes Two and Tunic both coming to the Nintendo Switch as well. So
fuck yeah, Cap. I cannot wait to play It Takes Two on a really poorly optimized system and have it run at 10 frames per second.
We're gonna sound like such assholes. Every time we hear of a new thing, we're like, I bet this runs like shit.
Yeah, people are probably getting sick of us talking about that. But no, this is a great game. I am honestly more excited about the Tunic release. I remember when you first were telling me about this game that you reviewed this, you said the game is fantastic. I wish it was on the Switch because it feels like it would be at its native platform, being able to play it on that.
And that's 100% how I'm feeling. Like, I never finished Tunic. I probably put in maybe an hour. And then just went, I'm just going to wait for this to come to the Switch because I think it should run okay. It's like low poly graphics. But I mean, again, I say that and like Cult of the Lamb is like a fucking diorama 2D and it runs like shit sometimes. So who knows? But hopefully it runs okay. I think It Takes Two coming to more platforms is great in general. I do worry about how well it will run, but I mean that game is a fucking masterpiece. And if you haven't played it, get a friend, you know, get your partner, get a child, probably your child, but yeah, just play it with someone. It's so good.
I think the greatest thing about it being on Switch, Cap, is natively you obviously get the 2 Joy-Cons, so you can pick up this game and play split screen 2-player straight off the bat with this, which is be great. I think that's the best way to play this game. Obviously, can you play it single player? Can you actually play it?
Imagine playing 2-player split screen on the fucking Switch. Are you kidding me?
No, well, you're gonna have you're gonna have it on your TV, surely. Like
they literally show in the trailer though that you can play it split screen. Like, man, I cannot imagine playing any game split screen on the tiny Switch screen. I can barely play games on that as is, but. Yeah. Anyways, I'm excited for Tunic, dude. I'm definitely going to buy that again for my Switch for sure.
Have we got a release date on either of these coming to Switch, Cap?
No, I didn't grab it because I'm a fucking idiot. But I'm sure they'll be out soon. Keep an eye out. Maybe someone in chat might be able to chase those up, and we'll confirm. But yeah, so there you go. Now, Grizz, fucking
Yes.
the farming sim apocalypse also hit fucking the Nintendo Direct. They literally
Love it.
announced, what is it, like 4 different farming sims. So I'm just going to give a quick rundown of each one.
Go
So
for it. Yeah.
Story of Seasons. Now this one's kind of like Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, which is kind of cutesy anime, semi-chibi kind of farming experience. You
Mhm.
have your own farm and you go into town and do things. The
Dude, this
little
looks.
bit Stardew
I was
Valley.
going to interrupt you there. This looks a lot like the Nintendo 64. Wasn't Stardew? Was it Stardew Valley? No, it was. What was it called?
Was it
Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon?
Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks a
Yeah.
lot like Harvest
Looks a
Moon.
lot like
doesn't it?
Harvest Moon. Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of got that aesthetic. They also announced Rune Factory. Now I can't remember what number it was, but basically another farming kind of simulator game, but it kind of has a Legend of Mana kind of style and visuals / combat to it. So
Very
that's
cool.
that one. They
Yep.
also announced Fae Farm, which is another cutesy kind of chibi looking thing with it kind of almost looks a little bit like a link between worlds from the 3DS visually. So that one's also coming. And they also announced that Harvestella, which we've spoken about before, is coming to the
Yes.
Switch as well. So that was
Yep.
a game that originally we'd only had known that it was coming to the PlayStation, but this sort of farming cross Final Fantasy game is also coming to Switch. Now, Grizz, I actually had a bit more of a look at Harvestella in these trailers, and
Yeah.
I actually don't mind what I'm seeing. Like, it's kind of
you like
got
it?
like a full-on Final Fantasy kind of overworld bosses and all kinds of shit going on with the farming simulator
For a
shit.
farming game, overworld
Yeah.
bosses, Cap. Yeah. Okay.
So I
yeah.
thought that looked pretty interesting. But anyways, Grizz, 4 freaking farming simulator games announced in one direct. I thought it was nuts. Now it kind of just seems to me like everyone's trying to get a bit of the Animal Crossing / Stardew pie, I think.
Can I just tell you, Cap? I really, really enjoy Stardew Valley and farming games. That was one thing that probably my favorite thing that I liked about Lens Island was the crop management farming aspects of that game. And I think it's just like really satisfying. Something about planting something and waking up the next day and watering it and just like doing all those mundane things to like see a product grow quickly. Because in the real world, it just takes too long, Cap. You can do it in a game. So yeah, I think this is the farm apocalypse. I think it's great. Should be good.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think it looks pretty. They all look pretty good. I definitely think my pick of the bunch is Harvestella, only because that's kind of my aesthetic and what I want from a game is a bit more going for it than just the farming stuff. But I do think that's why Stardew did so well, is because it had more
Yeah.
going for it than just the farming.
Yeah, and just while you're on that subject, Cap, is they have the new game under that banner is I think it's called the Chocolatier. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but it is more. Well, yeah, it's the same. It's Concerned Ape, same guys as Stardew, and it's basically the same art style, very similar, but a lot more combat orientated. And you run a chocolate factory, so still some nature of like optimization bits and pieces. And
you can't quite imagine
doing
someone
things.
saying you run a chocolate factory and it being combat heavy. You can't quite really imagine someone saying those two things.
I think it is a haunted chocolate factory, so there's like ghosts and like bits and pieces. Yeah.
Right, okay. Now that wasn't
Seems cool.
announced here. It has been announced previously, and it also hasn't been announced for Switch yet. But I'm sure that'll probably come eventually. But yeah, there you go. But yeah, all right. So that's the farming sims. Now there was a bunch of other shit that came out in the Nintendo Direct. Grizz, things like Bayonetta got another trailer. We know that Mario Kart's getting more tracks soon. So if you're a Mario Kart fan, I'm sure you'd be freaking stoked about more shit to do in that game. Switch Sports is getting a golf mode, which we knew was happening, but it's obviously got a release coming soon. Now, Splatoon 3 is out now, and they have announced that they've got their first bit of post-launch content, the Splatfest, coming soon. Now, that's kind of like you join a team globally. There's like 3 teams, kind of like Pokemon Go, where you have the 3 different teams. You join one of those teams, and then all of your battles online, I guess, go towards earning points for that team. And then I guess certain teams get certain rewards for winning, etc. So that's that. They also announced Octopath Traveler 2, which is a JRPG that was quite beloved by a lot of people, number one. It basically, Final Fantasy style esque, probably like earlier Final Fantasy style esque game. Had really nice visuals, and they also had a lot of different storylines happening all at the same time, and you kind of join them by playing different characters and getting them to kind of meet, etc. It was a pretty good game. I never finished it, which I don't do with most of my games, but that doesn't mean much. And they also announced, Grizz, probably one of the more interesting things. Resident Evil Village, Biohazard, and 2 and 3 remakes are all coming to the Switch.
Oh, wow.
Here's the kicker.
Okay.
They're the cloud versions. Yeah. So they did the same thing with Kingdom Hearts, where you play the game. So the Switch doesn't run the game. It's run on the cloud somewhere, and you just stream the game from the cloud. Now, apparently, the Kingdom Hearts cloud version ran like fucking shit. And there's all kinds of issues with, it running slow and delays and what do you call it?
The issue with the Switch, Cap, is it doesn't natively come with a LAN port, so you're relying heavily on your Wi-Fi connection unless you've paid for the thing that has a LAN port. So
yeah,
I don't know. It kind of sounds a little bit interesting.
We'll see how it plays out.
Did the OLED screen Switch come with a LAN port in it, Cap?
I wouldn't have thought so, dude. I think they literally just changed the screen. I don't think they added anything else. And I think there was a slight change to the processor, which might have given you like an extra hurt of power or something.
I mean, you can tell what they're going for here, Cap, right? Obviously, they probably think that these games are too strong for the Switch. And so what other option have they got? The cloud service to run your game. And then you're just streaming the feed. So I don't know.
Yeah,
if internet's garbo though, then you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, I think literally just from what we've seen of the Kingdom Hearts versions, like I can't imagine this going too well. I do vaguely remember that so someone approached either Nintendo or Square Enix about getting the it was like some other like tech company, basically a startup who wanted to do cloud versions of games, and then it basically flopped really hard, and that's where we've kind of been left with this. But obviously they're still trying to push it a little bit, and anyways, we'll see how it goes. Anyways, but yeah, Riz, that's pretty much the Nintendo Direct. There's a few other things that were announced, but go and check bits and pieces out. Definitely very keen for I was going to call it Breath of the Wild 2, but Tears of the Kingdom. What was your standout for that, Grizz?
Apart from Tears of the Kingdom, mate, or is that what you said? Sorry.
Oh yeah, well, it can be Tears of the Kingdom if that was. What
Tears of the Kingdom, 100%. Cap is a standout for me. I think definitely build a bit of hype with a very vague trailer. Probably a close, not even a close runner-up, but a runner-up for me, Cap, is the 64 titles coming, and having the online play for those, I think, is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd actually say runner-up for me is Tunic.
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I think getting Tunic on that console is exciting, man. I really want to give that a good crack.
Interesting that our runner-ups are both games that are already developed and not new IPs or new games from Nintendo.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not going to be fucking Fire Emblem, mate. I don't know. It just looks not my cup of tea. I mean, and I love anime shit. Like, I'll eat that shit up. Like, the fact that Persona 5's coming to Switch, man, I'm so excited. But yeah, Fire Emblem, just not interested. I think all the like dating sim shit just kind of puts me off it. But I mean, people at home will go, "Oh, but Persona 5 has dating sim stuff in it." Yes, but they do it well. It's not just shoehorned in. Anyways, so there's that. Now, Grizz, one thing I wanted to kind of go through. A lot of people weren't stoked with the Nintendo Direct. I thought it was a bit meh in general. Just the overarching sentiment towards the event. Just not super.
Yeah.
Just like, it was fine. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. I think a lot of people have very high expectations when they say there's a Nintendo Direct coming, because this is generally where a lot of things get announced, etc. Now, obviously, we had Fire Emblem Engage announced, but yeah, we actually ran a poll this week to find out what people did think about this Nintendo Direct. So we basically ran a poll trying to find out where people kind of sat in what area. So so we'll go through that in a second, but we have just had a big old raid here in the podcast. Thank you, Jazz Cook. Bloody appreciate you, mate. Welcome on in. And welcome to the OGR podcast. We're going through the Nintendo Direct and Sony PlayStation state of play currently. We've just finished going through the Nintendo Direct, so sit down, enjoy yourselves, and grab yourself a cup of tea. But Grizz,
Cap, they missed all the Breath of the Wild talk, mate. That's
yeah,
unfortunate for them.
You're just gonna have to go back and listen to the podcast.
That's right. We this podcast goes directly to Spotify. Just got to search Oceanic Gaming Radio if you want to go check that out. But yes. So
Absolutely.
the poll from the Twitter. Every week we post a new poll on the Twitter, Cap, and usually it's centric around what the episode's about. So this week's was around how the Nintendo Direct was. What did you? Well, let's go through the different categories here, Cap.
Yeah, so we want to just to reiterate, we only ever get 4 options we can do with Twitter polls,
Yeah.
so we kind of got to be a little bit creative with how we go ahead and do that. Now, if you want to go through the options, we're basically just asking how people would rate this this Nintendo Direct that just happened. So we had amazing, 10 out of 10, good, 7.5 out of 10, meh, 5 out of 10, or poor, less than or equal to 2.5.
What did you vote for, Cap? What did you go for, mate? What was your?
I thought it was good. I thought it was just good. I don't think my my expectations were too high. I think a lot of people just like have very high expectations these days. I just think in general.
I was trying to think what would have. I actually put a 10 out of 10 on this, Cap, because GoldenEye online multiplayer on the Switch, amazing. And also the stuff that we saw from Breath of the Wild was pretty good. And I was trying to think, what else would I want to make it better than
I
what
think
it was?
some people are expecting a Metroid revamp pretty soon, and maybe some news on the new Metroid stuff that's coming. Also, the remasters of the 3D Metroid games that we've had I can't think of the names for some reason. But yeah, I think it's just people self-hyping themselves and expecting things that maybe aren't coming or whatever. But I mean, I would love to see that stuff as well, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I voted for good. What did you think, Grizz? 7.5. That's where I went.
gave it a 10. What about you?
Oh, you gave
Cap?
it a 10.
I gave it a 10, mate. Breath of the Wild, dude.
You have even lower expectations than what I did.
Well, they have a few. They have a few of these now, Cap. The Nintendo Directs are like they have quite a couple of these. It's not like it's just a one-off. Like I don't know. Can't set your expectations too high.
Oh, exactly.
Think,
they can't be pumping out bangers every time. But yeah, let's go through the results of the poll. So we had so equal tie for third, amazing 10 out of 10, and poor. So a pretty even split there. And then we had good coming in at second at 7.5, and for 7.5, that was 28.6% of the vote. And then 33.3%, so the highest vote was meh at 5 out of 10. So I think, like, in terms of like overall trend, most people kind of lower, towards the 5 out of 10 / lower mark.
It's interesting that the amazing and the poor had the same number of votes, Cap. People either really loved it or thought it was
absolutely garbo. But yeah, so there you go. Now, Grizz, we also had the Sony State of Play, the state of what is happening in Sony. So fair few bits and pieces released here. So we'll give you a bit of an overview of what we saw. And then all the other stuff that came out. I think we're probably going to skip the quickfire today, but we'll just go hard on this content, and we'll get back to quickfire and regular programming next week. But yeah, so the first thing they announced, Grizz, was another God of War story trailer.
Yes. Yep.
Now, we obviously knew this game was coming. We've seen plenty of trailers up to this point, but this was probably the most cohesive bit of story and probably really gameplay that we've seen yet.
I thought it was extremely well written and delivered, Cap. I think the last one didn't give us a whole heap, but the dialogue that you've seen between Atreus and Kratos is really, you can see those dynamics. And I think we talked about this last time in the trailer, discussing around how we think that relationship may evolve. And it's interesting in this story because, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but Atreus is definitely holding stuff from Kratos, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. And that rift between them is definitely still there, and it makes for some really engaging kind of conversation between them. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where that lands. And I reckon that that kind of what drew me in the first one, Cap, that whole relationship that you have in that game as you're fighting your battles, and you feel like Atreus is really learning as you're working your way through the story and other bits and pieces, and they form this bond together that was just like a really emotional scenes through that game. So it'll be interesting to see where they take it in this second one.
Yeah, absolutely, and even character relationships with other characters, Grizz. Like we know that. Okay, spoilers for those who haven't played the first game. I highly recommend you probably maybe
Game of
turn
the
off the
year,
podcast
yeah.
or mute for a little bit. But like for
Mhm.
example, Freya becomes an enemy basically towards the end of the last game as you kill her son Baldur, you know, the immortal guy. Basically, you render him mortal and then you kick his ass permanently. So Freya kind of becomes an enemy. So it looks like that's kind of being carried on in this game. But
Yeah.
then you've also got new characters like Tyr, who's, you know, this other kind of epic, like Norse mythology character who's, you know, very wise and, you know, has all kinds of bits and pieces. But there's definitely a lot of, I guess, correlation to the events of classic Norse mythology. We had bits and pieces with wolves and wolves eating night skies and day skies and this, that, and everything else. Now, one thing I thought was awesome, Grizz, was I was a little bit worried, not worried, but I kind of thought, oh shit, like this is happening in Ragnarok, which is or during Ragnarok in mythology, which is, you know, the endless winter kind of that kind of thing. So I thought, oh fuck, it's just going to be winter the whole game, which is going to be a bit boring. But they showed off a lot of locales and, you know, tropical, voidy kind of looking space areas, like, and then also kind of cold areas as well. So I think there's going to be a large range of locales, which I'm pretty excited for.
So I wonder, I know that in the first one they had, it wasn't like time travel, but they had some kind of travel system where you could go to like other planes of existence nearly and explore kind of that way. I wonder if there's a similar take on that in this week and go to those other places and bits and pieces, cap through those portals, maybe.
Surely, more than likely. I mean, I remember in the other game. I mean, did we get DLC for God of War 1? I don't think we did. Did we?
No, I don't think we did either.
No, because I mean,
it
there
was
was
such
like
a fleshed out, beautiful game. It had everything
it
already.
didn't really need it, but I mean, there was some gateways in the main hub area in the middle of the zone where you thought, oh well, are we going to get DLC to this area? But maybe those get fleshed out in this game. So because it's, I believe the whole idea is it takes place in the same area, and there's like times progressed. Obviously, Atreus is a bit older and all that kind of shit. But one thing I am excited again about, Grizz, and it kind of harks back to that conversation we had about Breath of the Wild 2 / Tears of the Kingdom, is because they had this base to work with now. They don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? I feel like they can give this game heaps of shit that will be really cool for it, but hopefully not reinvent it too much, because I think what I loved about God of War, it was just like such a cinematically well done game. It had that kind of soulsy, impactful God of War combat. I just hope they just really take it to the next level. Don't try to go too hard on trying to reinvent the wheel again. And
it looks pretty true to what you're describing, I feel, Cap. And I 100%
think so too.
agree. The combat was amazing, but not only was the combat amazing, I felt like the different choices that you made through the skill tree really enabled you to play the game that you wanted to play it. You know, you could skill into being able to throw your axes and do different bits and pieces to wielding your axe or even punching with your fists, and you could really skill to play it. Now, I wanted to know, Cap, are you concerned that this is coming to PlayStation 4 as well as current gen? Have we got a bit of a potential cyberpunk situation where they're going to be trying to make this work on older generation console?
I actually don't. No, not really, actually, because I think they did a pretty good job with God of War 1. And did that come out on PS4? I can't even remember now. Like,
yeah, I think
PS4
so. Yeah,
release? Yeah,
PS4 release. Yeah, and then they gave you the free upgrade to give you a 60 frame version when it when it came across the PS5.
Look, I'm not too worried about it. Again, I think they are probably building off the same game engine. I'm sure they'll put some improvements here and there, but for the most part, yeah, I do feel like, not to leave like the old generation console owners in the dust, but unfortunately, like, because there are 2 generations of consoles that they're working for, that just means less dev time to work on a better game. That's literally that simple. So I hope that we can kind of move on to the next gen soonish. But and they've already started to do that. I can't remember what game we spoke about last week, but there are games that are only being targeted for next gen titles. So
So we talked about Cyberpunk not releasing any of their new content
right.
on the old
Yeah.
consoles. They've gone, nah,
Yeah.
we're only doing next gen. That's it. And,
Yeah, so I think they're
sticking to
starting to
those guns.
slowly do it. So if you haven't
Yeah.
got a PS5 yet, I mean, you might have a little bit longer yet, but I mean, it's hard enough to get a PS5 as is, Chris. So
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I mean, it's rough.
Mission.
It's
Hey-
fucking hard out
Hey,
there.
Cap, going back to that imagery we saw of Atreus shooting the sun and the wolf, a little bit of theory crafting here, mate, on the lore aspects. Do you feel like this is going to be a game mechanic where you can change between day and night mode and have different areas do different things and bits and
I
pieces?
was actually thinking this. I think the whole, because I mean, lore wise, I think what are the wolves called, Grizz? Can you remember what they're called?
Yeah. The two wolves are called Skull and Hattie, and they are wolves that perpetually chase the sun and the moon in Norse mythology. So,
Okay. Yeah, I think it could definitely open to a interesting game mechanic where you are changing between day and night on the fly, and maybe that impacts the environment around you or the enemies that you're dealing with or something.
Yeah.
For sure.
How
I mean, we
cool
don't
would
really
that
see
be?
any of that, but we
Yeah.
do see like a kind of cinematic with the
Mm.
wolves and that happening. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, Grizz. We
Yeah.
shall see what happens. Looks good. Looks really good. Now, the other
Looks
thing that was
fantastic.
announced, Grizz, Tekken 8. We had a teaser at what's that fighting game festival called? Oh, I can't think of it. Evo.
Yeah. Yep.
Had a cheeky teaser of Tekken 8 at Evo, and they have released a cinematic and gameplay of a fight between Jin and Kazuya, the classic Tekken characters, dude. And Kazuya's eyebrows are freaking nuts. They are full high definition.
Dude, how amazing are the graphic bits and pieces that we're seeing here?
It looks nuts. The actual so this is all captured on PS5. Like the location they're fighting in is on this like platform in the ocean, and there's like a raging torrent and freaking like a ship that's broken in the background and lightning going off everywhere, and it's raining, and it looks bonkers. Like
So
really,
they also
really
mentioned that this trailer cap is taken directly from the game's progress. So this isn't what some devs do, where they pre-render out a cinematic, and it's all basically smoke and mirrors, and you don't see much gameplay. But this is actual in-game graphics that we're seeing.
This makes me pretty
this is
excited for like a story mode, Grizz, because I mean, if they're kind of blending like segments of fighting between you and a character, and then also blending in these cinematic moments where you're getting power ups and like that, that could be nuts cool, dude. Really, really rad.
Absolutely. And Cap, I don't know if you realize, but this is a Unreal Engine 5 game. And they took no assets from Tekken 7. This was built from the ground up for this game.
Wow.
So if you're not familiar with Unreal Engine 5, there's a couple you can go and have a look, but essentially it is like a new game dev software, but it's got amazing bits and pieces in it. Things like the way that they do lighting and the way that they generate muscles and even raindrops and things like that are above and beyond what we've seen in other bits of software. So you can see it. Looks good.
Yeah, looks nuts, dude. And hopefully we'll get some more teasers and trailers in the coming, I guess, weeks and whatever with some of our other favorite characters. Like who was it? Was it Eddie Guerrero? Was that?
Dude, the guy that spun around on his hands.
Yeah, what a mad dog. And Pixel Ninetails in chat saying, Jin and Kazuya are pretty cool, but where's King, the freaking leopard man?
Oh yeah, King. He had the mask.
Oh, what about that? Who was
he?
that freaking robot dude? What his name? Jack or some shit? He was another guy.
Who was the guy that had the clogs on his feet? He had those clogs on his feet. Who was that?
Yeah, I can't remember, because I remember Tekken from when I was a youngin'. So I haven't played any recent Tekkens, but yeah, regardless, it's looking freaking nice, fellas. But yeah, so there you go. Now, Grizz, another title that they announced: Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, which is a Star Wars bounty hunter tale in VR. So it looks like this is one of their, I guess their flagship VR2 titles that will be releasing next year alongside the PlayStation VR2. Looks pretty interesting. They've got some classic characters in there like R2D2 and your C3PO, etc. You kind of
Yep.
see, your bounty hunter man running or person running around in VR and doing bounty hunter things. But do you know what, Grizz?
Mhm.
I was pretty unimpressed, in all honesty. I was like,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
it's Star Wars in VR. I'm sure it'll be cool, and it's in VR, but it just didn't seem groundbreaking to me.
It's a start of things, Cap.
Yeah, I
Let me
think you're
sell
right.
this to you. So, pretty much to date, VR, we've always seen, play Skyrim VR, play Subnautica VR, play this VR. And then they've got feasibility things like Beat Saber and bits and pieces. I mean, to my knowledge, the only standalone AAA great VR game is that Horizon Zero Dawn, which still, what was it? Horizon,
Oh,
whoever,
Call of the Wild
Call of
or
the
Call of the
Wild,
Mountain. It's
which
coming
still,
out to PSVR 2, you mean?
yeah, PSVR 2. So I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe this is like the start of where we get to see these individual IPs that,
Yeah.
but I agree with you. It just kind of looks like a game.
I'm sure it's very different when you've got the headset on and you're being immersed in that.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, seeing it on
Did you see him just
my
walk up
monitor.
to that guy? He just walked up to this enemy that's just like sitting there and
I
just,
know.
like, slaps him across the face.
It looks so stupid because like when you play games or like third person or whatever, and like there's a lot of detail to like combat making sense. Whereas in VR, like combat has to be easier because like the medium is more difficult for you to actively perform functions within. So they've got to kind of make the combat easier. So the AI just looks ridiculous. Like they're just standing out in the open, just like pew, 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 which kind of works with Star Wars, right? Like the classic meme of stormtroopers not being able to shoot. So it kind of works well, but still. Anyways. So yeah, that was that, Grizz. I mean, yeah, looks good. Another VR title. I hope to get a VR 2 headset, but I'll have to put that one past the wife. We'll see how we go with that one. I'll let you know.
Same boat, mate.
Next time on this podcast. But yeah, there you go. Now, Grizz.
Yeah.
You ever play a Yakuza game? Ever?
No. You know what? I
Neither
didn't
have
even watch this. I didn't even watch this. I didn't even write any notes to it. So I'm relying heavily off you to drive this one, Cap.
I'm going to give you the too long didn't read on this one.
Okay.
So, to begin, there are 3 new Yakuza games coming out. Probably the most interesting looking one, I think, is Yakuza Ishin, or Like a Dragon Ishin. Now, before we dive too deep into the actual games themselves, Sega has now committed to renaming the Yakuza series to Like a Dragon. Reason being, in Japan, they call the series Like a Dragon. And I believe that's probably some kind of cultural thing because of the Yakuza in Japan, and they don't want it to be affiliated with that. Whereas over here in the West, they called it Yakuza because it was a catchy name. You kind of get well, I mean, that's literally what the game's about, right? It's, the earlier games, it is about a kind of Yakuza. So anyways, they've now committed to that for, I guess, consistency purposes, just for naming and localizing and all that kind of shit. So that's happened. Now they've got Ishin coming out, Like a Dragon Ishin. This is a spin-off from the standard games, which are kind of set in the modern area as Yakuza. This one's set in the Edo era, which spans, I wrote this down, as you can probably tell as I'm reading it.
Very impressed. Very impressed.
Between
Cap,
1603 and 1867. So that kind of gives you a rough idea of how far back we're going. So there were guns.
It's a long time frame too, Cap.
It is a long time frame, but there are guns involved. So I'd say it's towards the 1867 end of that time frame.
Okay.
Because in the trailer you see the main character like slicing bullets and using a magnum and stuff like that. Now, these games are kind of like wacky hack and slash kind of games, fairly comedic, like kind of like a Japanese kind of martial arts movie, I guess, almost. But look, it is a highly beloved series. I've never played one, but I know that they're kind of recreating characters from the older games in this spin-off game. So people are like shitting their pants about it. Very excited for it. Now, alongside this, they've announced Like a Dragon 8, which is going to be a modern title. So again, they're changing the name from Yakuza to Like a Dragon. So Like a Dragon 8 will be the latest. And they've also got another kind of Edo era looking game called Like a Dragon, The Man Who Erased His Name. So look, in all honesty, it's very confusing to me because I have no idea what's going on.
That is
in
a
the series.
lot of games coming.
It
under
is.
that IP.
I
Cap.
think
That's a lot.
Sega has just kind of gone all in on this because it's done really well for them in the
Yeah.
past, and yeah, basically they just want to go in all in on it because it's literally working for them. They're making good money off it clearly. So there you freaking go. So 3 games coming for you, Like a Dragon fans, and I'm
Mhm.
sure you guys are exceptionally excited about it.
Just
but
like we are. Hey, Cap.
I'm not all that fussed. Now,
Yeah.
Grizz, I actually thought the name change was probably the most interesting thing about
Mm.
this. And the reason is, Grizz, I reckon people will still call it Yakuza in the West.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It kind of
Oh
reminds me
yeah,
a
that
bit
game.
of like,
The new Yakuza game.
and
Oh
then they'll be,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Like a Dragon, you mean? Yeah, Yakuza.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be the conversation. But it'll kind of be
Mhm.
like when Blizzard tried to change the name of BattleNet to the Blizzard app, and people just kept calling it BattleNet, and they changed it back to BattleNet again. Remember that?
I don't remember that happening. No, but
Exactly.
it sounds.
It's been deleted from your memory because you can't
Yeah.
even remember it. That's how poorly it went. So
Yeah.
it kind of
Mhm.
reminds me of that. Maybe we'll see in the future that they go back to the Yakuza naming. But I think there's enough draw from this IP in general for them to be able to make a change like this and it not really impact them too much. But yeah, very interesting in overall. I think looking good for Like a Dragon fans. So there you go. Now, Grizz, the other thing they did is they released another trailer for PlayStation Stars. Now, this
Cap,
is that
just real quick.
collectibles thing.
My mum's in the
Yeah.
chat. Hi, mum.
Hi, Mum.
Hi, mum.
Sorry,
Sorry,
welcome on
continue
in.
on.
I'll
Continue
try
on,
to
good
keep the
sir.
swearing down a little bit.
Fuck.
Yeah. Oh, hey, come on, settle down. Where? But yeah, so we've got PlayStation Stars, Grizzo. Now they announced that it's going to be slowly rolling out into Asian regions in late September. So bit of a staggered release. Now, for those who can't quite remember, this is that it's like a collectibles thing that's going to be embedded within PS5. You can basically perform activities and stuff like playing a game once a month, and you earn loyalty points, and you might
you can
perform
spend
certain activities.
You can spend
get
like
trophies.
those loyalty points to get physical stuff as well, can't you? Caps similar to the Nintendo store. You got to pay the postage.
I think you can actually. I don't. Maybe I can't remember about that, but you can definitely spend those loyalty points to get PSN credit.
Gee, that's not bad. Yeah, I know the
So,
Nintendo
pretty
ones
cool.
you can get like Mario themed mugs and bits and pieces, but then when you pay the postage, it's like you may as well just go buy a Mario mug from somewhere.
Yeah, I think I got. I
Yeah.
think I got a book one time, and yeah, I think you're right. But one thing I wonder about is the conversion rate on that loyalty points to PSN credit, Grizz. It's probably going to be like 1 million loyalty points for 5 cents.
Yeah.
Because you know what Sony's like with its IPs and pricing. I feel like they're probably the tightest developer on the planet.
Absolutely.
So
It is
I can't
nice,
imagine that
though.
being great.
I mean-
Absolutely, yeah. It's something for nothing, right?
Something for nothing. And I hope that they, for the PlayStation Cap, they start to bring out things like themes and scenes and stuff that you can buy to customize your PS5, which I reckon we will get there. And if you can get like, I don't know, a couple of bucks from a PSN voucher from a digital currency and spend that on a cool theme or something, then I think it could be cool.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, so pretty cool. Again, this is definitely not NFTs as per Sony's wording. This is like little digital trophies you can earn in game. So they showed off some of the trophies. Like there was like an MP3 player, I think, and a PS3 trophy, and I think there was also like a Ape Escape thing as well. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on. So yeah, but I mean that pretty much covers the big ticket items of the PlayStation State of Play. Now I will quickly go over some of the smaller things that happened real quick, Grizz. So they had this thing called Demio that was shown off. That was a weird kind of PSVR 2 tabletop experience thing where you're kind of going into this little tabletop diorama thing and moving characters around and rolling dice and stuff. That looked interesting. They also had another Hogwarts Legacy trailer. That's that open world RPG Harry Potter thing that they've got going on with an exclusive PlayStation Quest.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Cheeky buggers.
I wonder if we'll see Xbox exclusive Quest as well, Cap. Probably not.
Probably not.
They might just
certainly not.
You probably just get like one different reward or something for doing it.
Yeah, probably be a witch hat with an Xbox symbol on it or something.
Yeah.
Something really shit. Now, another thing that they announced, Chris, I don't know if you saw this, a game called Pacific Drive. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. The only thing that I'm really excited about them is the Rise of Ronin. But tell me about this first, Cap. Tell me about this
Okay.
specific drive.
So Pacific Drive, it kind of looks like a driving exploration game with survival mechanics.
Oh,
So
man, that sounds awesome.
yeah, it actually
How do you
sounds pretty
survive?
cool.
How do you drive and survive? You got to drink
So
and eat?
I think what's going on is you kind of drive between areas and like crazy weather conditions happen. So earthquakes and like things are rising out of the ground. You got to try not to crash into stuff. Electrical storms and stuff are happening with these bouncing lightning balls that you're dodging. They have these poison things that are popping up, and then you can't drive through the poison and stuff. And they just kind of happen in the world around you. And you've got to kind of react to this dynamic kind of weather conditions that are happening. And I think it kind of seemed like you were driving between areas, and then I guess you try and drive to a safe place where there wasn't a weather anomaly happening. And I think you can get out of your car and scrounge for materials and probably upgrade your car and stuff, and then go back. And then like the weather, you get like a notification saying, big storm coming in, and then you're back in the car and you're driving away. So it looks actually pretty cool.
That sounds not too bad at all, mate. That sounds very interesting. Is it multiplayer or is it just a single player experience this stage, Cap?
I think it looks it looks single player to me, but
Yeah.
I don't know how well the idea of it would go as a multiplayer game. But I mean, I suppose there's no reason why it couldn't work.
Hmm.
But yeah, I
Very
didn't see
cool.
that. But there was also, before you jump into Ronin, Grizz, there was
Yeah.
a shitload of weird anime mech games as well. So if that's your thing, we're not covering them here. But
That's
they
your
exist.
thing, Cap. You love
No,
that
it's
stuff,
not.
do you, mate?
I
You love anime.
I don't like mechs.
Okay, all right. All right. So Rise of Ronin, Cap. What are your thoughts, mate? So this is from the Neo team, which I have played all the Neo games. I only finished Neo 1, but I got halfway through Neo 2 and I just found it very, I mean, coming from playing a Souls game to playing Neo, I just don't like their boss design. I feel like a lot of the boss design mechanics are just simply unfair to the player. Things like unblockable attacks and stuff that you just can't dodge, and a lot of metagaming in the skills and bits and pieces you use. You can break the game. So anyway, I don't want to go into that, but I did really like the art style and I really like the exploration in those games. And I think if they can do a good job on Rise of Ronin, I think it would be a really good game. So I'm excited to see where that kind of goes.
Yeah, it's so it's kind of set in, again, it looks like the Edo period. So that kind of period of time where Japan was kind of had that feudalistic aspect to it, but also guns were being imported and et cetera, et cetera. But so it kind of similar to that Like a Dragon Ishin game in terms of setting, but it kind of had an Assassin's Creed look to it to me. Like, but it reminded me, Grizz, of the early Assassin's Creed games, which hyped me up because like there was like, it kind of reminded me of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, where you got like a flight machine and you're kind of gliding between buildings, and seemed like there was some very basic kind of climbing stuff going on, and but then also the combat kind of almost looked a little bit Sekiro-ish, which
I thought that too. Yeah, pretty interesting. Is there when you say the Assassin's Creed bit, Cap, was it the stealth mechanics, mate, or anything like what?
Well, it was kind of a blend of just the aesthetic and the way that they kind of showed the gameplay. It kind of just reminded me of Assassin's Creed. But yeah, a bit of stealthy stuff going on. The combat kind of looked a little bit like earlier Assassin's Creed games again. And then when I saw the guy on the glider, it just really my immediate mental imagery was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Holy shit, this is nuts.
It's interesting, Cap, but this actually popped up on my TikTok of someone saying, "Look at this great new action game" on my TikTok, and I was like, I don't know how it's popped up in there, but this was literally today when I was doing the run sheet for this in my lunch break. So clearly it knows that I'm ready for a new Elden Ring experience, action RPG kind of like game. So yeah.
Well, mate, you definitely won't be at a loss for games set in feudal Japan over the next couple of years, mate, because we've probably got Ghost of Tsushima 2 coming. I mean, we've had this announced. We've also got Like a Dragon. We've also got Assassin's Creed Japan being made as well, Assassin's Creed Red. So there is a shitload of like Japan feudal kind of period games being developed. So
I tell you what, Cal,
yeah.
we got a lot of games coming our way, mate. We're gonna have to
dude.
we're gonna have to take
Yeah.
some time off work to just try to get through a couple of these and play
Yeah.
some of these games that are coming out. I still need to go back and play Tunic. That's one that I need to play probably when it comes out on Switch. And we got God of War coming as well. There's just so much to play. I'm excited. Should be
Oh,
great.
it's going to be nuts, dude. Yeah, I'm going to have to take leave from family life.
Yeah. Sorry, Mia.
Yeah.
Video
Good luck with the new
games.
baby.
Yes.
I'm busy. So, anyways, but yeah, so that was basically the majority of PlayStation, the PlayStation State of Play. So, yeah, God of War, Tekken, a lot of Like a Dragon stuff, and a bunch of other bits and pieces floating about. But yeah, I think we've done a pretty good job of covering both Nintendo Direct and the Sony State of Play in one episode. We're not going to be able to get to a quick fire this time around, guys, but you can expect that next time with our special guest who will be announced via Twitter at some point this week. So keep an eye on the Twitter. We also have the poll go live every week over the weekend, and that is that's at twitter.com/OGR show. Now, again, we won't have Grizzly next week. Okay, so it's gonna be a very different show, but it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna be okay, guys. Don't worry. He'll be back the following week. It's gonna be okay.
You guys are gonna be better without me, I'm sure. I'm gonna be like, it's gonna be just amazing.
Who am I gonna shit on?
Yeah,
This is my time to shine.
Looks like I'm going to be shitting on Pav. So, yeah, keep an eye on the Twitter and over the weekend. We'll also announce it within the Discord. If you would like to join our Discord, check out the links in this description on the podcast description. I'm sure you'll find a link there. Or check it out in the Twitch chat right now.
Hey, Cap, do you know what else that they can do if they are listening from Spotify or from Apple Podcasts? Is you can rate this podcast. There is a review function in there. We would greatly appreciate it if you've made it to the end of this episode. If you could just give the podcast a review on your local review platform. Alternatively, if you're on Twitch, make sure you follow all the socials as well on there.
Yep, absolutely. If you would like to watch us live on Twitch, we stream every Monday from 7 p.m. AWST. We're a little bit earlier this week just to get Grizz, give him a bit of time to pack his bags for Bali. But yeah, other than that, please go and have a look at our Patreon. If you would like to support us financially, you can. You can jump in at whatever tier you'd like and help your boys out. Help keep the lights on, so to speak. That's patreon.com/OGR show, I believe. If not, just Google Oceanic Gaming Radio. Now, as always, final thing from us is please tell someone about this podcast. Don't care who it is. Hopefully they like gaming, because otherwise they're probably not going to really enjoy that much. But if you know anyone that might enjoy this podcast, please go and let them know. Go and plug in the podcast into their phone for them if they need help. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you for all the support. And we'll see you guys next week. You got anything else to say, Grizz? Or is that it?
All good from me. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Look
weeks.
after the boys while I'm away, all right?
Absolutely. Peace out, fellas.
And that's a wrap.
We did it.
That's a wrap.
All right. Pav, tell us, mate. Tell us about your.
I forgot about that.
Before we jump into that, again, Juz, thank you for the raid, dude. That's
Juz,
nuts,
if you're
still
man.
here.
We fucking appreciate
he's right
it big
there.
time. Yeah,
What a legend.
he's listening, mate. He's gone and plugged in Oceanic Gaming Radio on his Spotify and gone and subscribe and then given us a quick 5-star review because he's a good bloke like that.
I was watching Juz play Cap We Are Billions. Did you ever play that?
I actually tuned in the other night as well and was watching it.
Mate, you actually made me want to play it, man. I reckon I might buy it, give it a crack. It's kind of like Horde zombie mode RTS. Looks cool.
The game looked like shit, but Juz was having such a good time. I wanted to get it as well. Absolutely. No, it looks really good. I think It does look good, actually. It's probably the only kind of RTS-y thing that is on my radar at all at the moment.
Yeah.
Unless
Yep.
Warcraft 4 is kind of hidden in the background somewhere, and I don't know.
Mm. The other one that I wanted to try, dude, is that did you see that steampunk game with the Frostpunk?
Frostpunk, yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
familiar. Was it the same kind of vibe?
It looks similar. It's not really Horde, but basically you've got an impending winter that's closing in on you, and you've got to like manage your people to stay alive and put heaters on and stuff. Yeah, looks interesting.
Sounds like work, like my job.
True. Yeah. I love that shit, man. I love doing work in video games, but can't be fucked doing work in real life.
I know, right? It's weird, isn't it? Like you do all the like go and collect ball pelts for people. You never do that in real life. You'd be like, fuck off, mate. I'm not doing that.
I've lost my axe handle. What? I don't care.
Yeah, well, good luck, mate. Now, Pav, explain.
All right. Look, I said we'll delay it to here because it's such a shit story, dude. So essentially, last Wednesday, I got sent home from work because I burnt my face with my lunch.
What?
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. When he told me that, I was like,
Now,
we're trying to eat it too quick, Pav.
First, I'll show you where the burn is, and that's going to confuse you more. Look, it's right here.
Yeah, I can see it. Fuck, that's a pretty good burn, Pav.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic.
Jeez.
So now I'll tell you.
Done a good job. Done a
I'll
real
tell
good
you.
job.
Look, I storm into my lunchroom. I make my food hot. It's in the microwave for 1:30. That's it. I take it out. I grab it. I was like, ooh, this is a bit warm. I don't want to burn my hands. Let me grab a paper towel to pick this up, which ended up being my undoing. Because I get a bad grip on it. I'm going to open a door, and then like something slips, and then I must have over adjusted, and like I flip my hand out, and it just goes flying everywhere, across my face, around the lunchroom, everywhere.
So you've literally thrown it onto your face.
Essentially, yeah.
Man,
Dude,
crazy.
Were
the
you
best
more
part
upset?
about it is the fact that you had a heap of nurses to look after you, so you were fine. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, true. Hey, now Pav, were you more upset about ruining your lunch or burning your face?
That is the most tragic part, because I had barged into the room announcing to everyone that how excited I was to have my lunch today, because it's been in my drawer for a week. Like, it's one of the just microwave.
Yikes! How embarrassing!
I was like, I've been saving this one all week because this is my favorite one. I am so excited, only for everyone to witness me spray it across the room and my face literally 2 minutes later.
Yeah,
Tragic.
we need to know what kind of food it was, Pav. What was
I'll
the meal?
take a photo for next time
Okay.
and post it in the Discord. It's just it's a random.
You're a vegetarian, aren't you?
Yeah.
Pav? Yeah.
Was it just like a random assortment of things?
No, look, it was like literally like off the shelf. It's like a ready meal. You just chuck it in a microwave.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally nothing spectacular.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, boys,
Kylie
Just a
says,
hot carrot.
you know what? It probably was a carrot in there that did the major burn. Like literally.
When salad attacks back.
I know.
Now, Pav,
we
I want
need
you to keep.
Yeah, we need to keep
Sorry,
the
you go.
start of that, Cat. We need
Yes,
to keep
I was
the
just about to
start
say
of
that. We have to keep the beginning of that because it was so fucking funny.
All right.
I couldn't I was struggling real bad.
Yeah, that was honestly comical genius. It was like,
Oh.
oh, yep, here's the right one. And it's like some fucker's
DJ Francesco.
Do you want to hear it again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Give you a bit of DJ.
DJ Francesco.
I forgot I had that on here. I don't know why it's on the same page as the ogre starting scene.
Dude, that's so fucking funny.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Baited us into it by pressing the wrong one first. And then he's like, all right, here we go, boys. DJ Francesco.
Important question. Will you be changing a Twitch name to Lunch Face?
Just, yes, I think I'm going to have to.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Oh my god.
All right, we need an episode name. I'm
Yeah.
thinking literally just go for huge Nintendo Direct and State of Play.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Gamescom one we did title.
Yeah.
Yeah, that went well.
That
too,
did
didn't
really
it?
well.
That was good.
I mean, it's still our most popular episode since
In a
our first
while.
few. So,
Yeah.
I think we're
Huge
trying to
Nintendo
emulate
and
that.
PlayStation news, or Nintendo Direct and what are we naming it?
I'm happy with huge Nintendo and PlayStation news, maybe.
Or do you want to go?
Yeah.
Reveals.
Or reveals.
Do we
Yeah.
want to put Nintendo Direct in because that like states where it's from as well, and that might
Yeah,
trigger.
probably huge Nintendo Direct and what do we call it? Gamescom breakdown or something? What?
Yeah,
God.
I like reveals though. I think
Reveals. It's revealing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swords
Okay.
of revealing light.
It's sexy.
No, never mind.
It's sexy. The
Oh,
word revealing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just huge Nintendo Direct and
Hot
PlayStation.
carrot on face.
just say Nintendo Direct and PlayStation reveals.
Yeah.
Because then it's not too long.
Now, guys, I'm actually going to have to love you and leave you. I need to pack
Yeah.
my things to get to
Understandable.
Bali.
If
do you
y'all
wanna-
wanna, yeah.
Yeah, should we pick a raid target, you reckon, boys?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's good to have your mum in here, mate. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's at Mikey's house. She's obviously coming to Bali with us tomorrow morning. Popping in,
who-
saying hello.
Is Mikey going to Bali as well?
No, just our family and mum and dad doing a little adventure over there. Should be good. Great episode.
Cool.
Thanks, Kazi. Appreciate you, mate.
We've got an Alopia on if you wanna.
Yeah?
Will we be seen?
Desane is on.
This is true. Oh, Des, we haven't done a Des raid in a while.
Do
Yeah.
a Desane. Yep.
Yep, we can do that. What about Alsoa TV?
I love Alsoa. He's a good bloke.
I don't
He's
know.
a
do
really
Alsoa?
nice dude.
Let's do it.
Yeah, right. Let's do Alsoa.
Chuck it in.
You got it, Cap?
Yeah, working on it, pal.
Beautiful.
Working on it, pal.
I'll get the raid. Guys, hang around and raid with us. Also, guys, we will have emotes and the ability to subscribe soon, I think, as long as we sign up to the affiliate. We haven't
maybe not by
spoken about
next.
that
I
yet.
want to. I've got them on the top of my list to do this week. I'm not sure if it'll go through by next episode, but I can. I'm almost certain by the week after.
So if you're a bit funky about wanting to do the Patreon thing, you
You
can
understand? I
totally-
believe there's some funkiness going on with Patreon, so
yeah.
don't feel bad. I haven't looked into it, in all honesty. I know Honey messaged me about it and totally understand. So, yeah, freaking it's happening. We finally managed to stream enough hours at times.
Yeah.
I may have
It's
done
like
a
fucking shit, though, isn't it? Because you have to, like, we were easily meeting all the average views, everything else, but then because we weren't streaming enough, like, we don't get considered. Just dumb. Anyways, whatever.
Backwards. I was
Classic.
going to say, I will be posting images on the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord of my holiday, not nudes, maybe nudes, we'll see. Make sure you get on the Discord as well.
The
before
old
we
Bali
leave.
Bananas coming out, Grizz.
Oh
That's
my!
it, mate.
We've got a few
Brings
seconds
a new
before this
meaning to
raid is
cocktail,
done.
eh, Grizzo? Yeah, buddy. Let's go. All right.
All right.
Enough of that,
Rated.
Capo. All right. Let's we'll see you guys on the other side. Make sure you you post this, copy this real quick.
Cutting it
Quick.
so thin.
Copy
Get
it.
it done.
We'll see you on the other side.
It's
Love you.
done.
Adios.
See you next week.
Amigos.
Bye.
Bye.